Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters' view. Glen, are you good?
I'm good. I'm doing good, mate. I'm actually, as we were talking off air, I'm up in a little town called Echuca, which is on the New South Wales border on the Murray River. Just doing a quick weekend away camping, but it's by no means remote. There's a town nearby. So for our listeners, I've kind of had a happy medium with where I've stood to record this pod. It was either in the bush where you can hear the crazy loud Australian birds, or there was a band playing up on the high street where I'm near. So I'm kind of happy medium. So I hope our listeners or you can't hear any of that, which is interfering with our knowledge of Tottenham.
I have to say, I can't think of anything I'd like to avoid more than camping in Australia. Just being at one with nature is one thing in the UK. Being at one with nature in Australia is like taking your life in your own fucking hands.
You know, it's funny. My kids are away.
I hope you're fully armed.
Yeah, well, as I watched a comedian one time say about the wildlife in Australia versus the wildlife in America, the wildlife in Australia doesn't reload.
It's funny. I spent this evening around a friend's house. My friend Gareth, who sings the opening music for this podcast, and we watched the Man City Chelsea game. And he was telling me that his daughter is currently in Sydney, near Bondi Beach, and she's been moving around where she's staying a little bit to try and spread the cost. So she stayed in some nice places, but she's also stayed in a couple of youth hostels. One of them was really bad and it had cockroaches in it. I said, but the funny thing is the cockroach is probably the only thing that won't kill you. So yeah, she seems to be having a good time. I think got family out there, and so.
Yeah, nice. My kids were away 10 days camping up in Queensland, and I asked them when they got back, I said, did you see any snakes? And then Liam goes, no. And then Iris said, oh, I did. Yeah, we had to go and call the snake catcher. And I was like, where was it? And it was like, oh, it was kind of under the porta potty when I'd gone to the toilet. His head had poked out.
Right.
I'm like, okay, fair enough.
I just kind of just the thought of it, man. It's not good.
That is Queensland, not Victoria. Victoria does have them, but it's not as frequent, I would say.
Okay. Is it a change in weather conditions, different, or?
So Victoria,
more seasonal, right? You get more seasonal.
Correct. Yeah, way more seasonal. We don't get near as many bugs and snakes and all the stuff. I mean, they're out there, but you just don't. They're not frequent, right? You don't. So you're not going to appear in your house. Whereas in Queensland, towns in Queensland, like there's been stories of like snakes curling up in kiddies like toy boxes, and there's nothing like that. Nothing like that happens in Victoria. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Let's hope it's that way.
Indeed. Well, I think that's our wildlife talk. On to the football. We won a game, Graham. Yay!
We did. And let's be real. We won a game that we absolutely should have won.
Correct.
And we made quite a hard work of it again. Unsurprising. I thought that we put out again pretty makeshift team, as you would expect. We had even more players missing this time than for the league games, obviously, because we had players that weren't eligible to play because they weren't in the Europa League squad. So I think we were missing 14 of our first team squad. I don't think we even had a full bench. And
you didn't, yeah.
And the bench was predominantly kids, right? It was.
Well, I think the commentary team here said at one stage 4 of the subs combined hadn't had a senior appearance amongst them,
including the guy who came on.
Correct.
Olucisi came on. Even Josh's favourite
Casanova.
Dante Casanova. I was messaging him saying he's warming up. He's warming up. Come on, him on. He was like, was gutty when he didn't come on. But yeah. That was quite funny. But
what one thing on, like, you touched on it, right? It was makeshift. It was, for want of a better phrase, oftentimes cobbled together. But Archie Gray, is there anything the man can't do? You know, asked to play left back, and I thought didn't skip a beat.
I just waiting for him to get the gloves and go between the sticks. I think again he had a very solid performance. I've read some of it. We ended the game with 5 teenagers on the pitch. Yeah, which is nuts, right? We must have finished the game with probably the youngest team in the tournament, I would have said. And and for me, again, those youngsters were the consistent performers. Like Gray and Bergvall were absolutely top draw. I mean, Bergvall was chasing the keeper down on 96 minutes.
Yeah.
And when the whistle blew, they were both literally out dead on their backs.
Well,
they'd literally given everything for the whole match.
Madison, I was going to say, like, nice of him to show up for 45 minutes. I mean, I didn't think he did anything in the second half.
Absolutely faded out the game, didn't he? Second half.
Yeah.
You can't knock 2-goal contribution to the match, but I think he faded again as well. I just think we're just too tired. Some of these players are exhausted and they're not getting enough time to recover between matches. So it's difficult to be critical of them, and the youngsters have got like youth on their side, haven't they? Like I remember when I was that age, I'd go nightclubbing, get home at like 5 a.m, and then I'd be at work at 7 o'clock. It's like, you can get away with it when you're a youngster, right?
Well, I think there's a mix of both that, right? The youthful, the fitness side, but also there's also that almost bit of youthful ignorance bliss in terms of they haven't lived a lot of the shit that other players have in terms of the burden.
So maybe they have that natural anxiety of knowing how bad things are.
Yeah.
I think I just can't. My only worry is, right, and this is if you look at a lot of players who end up in first teams very, very young, they have a tendency to get burned out quite early. And that's my only worry is that, 18-year-olds playing, Christ, Gray's going to play probably 50 games this season, do you reckon?
Easily, because right? You've got FA Cup ahead of him. If we do beat Villa, then that's, if we go a bit deeper in that, I mean,
we'll at least have hopefully one knockout fixture in Europa as well. So if he plays 50 games, that's a lot for an 18-year-old, right? And Bergvall's not going to be that far behind him now. He started a bit later. Like his breakthrough into the first team was really due to injury. Now, I don't think anyone's going to become available that would really dislodge him from a place in the team anymore.
Well, what I'm getting there with your comment around players that play a lot and peak and then sometimes get big moves is I'm getting Zaha vibes when he moved to Man United and he was a complete flop.
I'm thinking as well, like Owen. Yeah, Michael Owen as an example, right? Someone who absolutely was world class as a teenager. Yeah, he was finished in his mid-20s, wasn't he? He was kind of. I worry that they get burned out early, and that we just need to be careful with them, which is why we can come to it later, obviously, about transfers and the fact that we haven't bolstered the squad is criminal, really. It's negligence of the club.
And you have to ask yourself, like, is it all above Ange's head? Like, is he just going along with it?
I think he's saying the right things. He's saying we need help, and he says they're working as hard as they can on it. But I'm not sure if he believes it as much as we do. I don't believe it at all. I believe that if we really needed players, there are players available. We could have brought players in. But I think David mentioned it last time, right? We're looking for the right kind of players, right? We're looking for a value proposition, not immediate help for the team. And we won't buy players unless there's a resale and there's a growth opportunity for the players. My worry is we'll bring in 2 players and they'll be 19-year-olds.
It's quite impossible, right? Because that's the model.
And the problem with that is, it's why not just bring in the fucking under-21s to start with?
Yeah.
Why not play Dorrington? Why not play Lancashire more? If that's what we're gonna have, we're just gonna bring in more players like that of that level, unless we get lucky. And there's not that many 18, 19-year-olds out there that are going to improve on what we've already got, I don't think. But
yeah. Depends very available, but just going back to the Hoffenheim.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we've kind of gone off a tangent a little bit.
No, that's fine.
To the game.
That's all the beauty of Home and Away podcasts. I love tangents, but Bentancur, I actually think he made a big difference, even though it was against quote inferior opposition. you actually had that almost shield in front of the fence. You know, he did make a big difference.
I thought as well. He made a point of going over to Bergvall at the end of the game and talking to him, and I thought that was good. And I think that's what these young players need. They need experience around them who will put their arm around them when they need it and give them a shout when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I wish we had more of that in the team. I really do. I think we're missing that, and we've talked about it since the beginning of the season, right? We're missing real leadership on the pitch. I don't think the Sun brings it. I don't think Maddison's particularly done it. I mean, he talks well after the game, but he could talk well because he wasn't that exhausted because he'd only played for half of it.
Well, this is it, right? This is what frustrates me. He reminds me of one of those type that's big on the socials, big on the talk, and then when it comes to actually delivering, I don't want to hear from him, if I'm honest. I don't want to hear from him. I just want to see what he can provide us and speak with football, James, you know?
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely fantastic goal.
Yeah, brilliant goal. So do that weekend.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, I want to see that every week. I want to see it, or at least every other week. Show me more. We know what you can do. Show us it more often.
100%. Not that this was really anything on Tottenham's performance, but I think important to cover. What did you make of the penalty that was then wasn't, and then he was like starting to run up to take it, and I was like, what is going on here? And I saw it in real time, and I was like, that's not a penalty.
Yeah, I think everyone who saw it, apart from the referee, said that's not a penalty. And then I almost think that it was such a shit decision that if he admitted that he got it wrong, he would look like a dick. And actually ended up looking like a dick anyway. Because by the time he got called over to look at it on VAR, and he watched it about 8 times on the screen, I'm like, it's not getting any better, mate. You're going to have to accept that you made a really terrible decision and just reverse it. And then he did eventually, but it was a bit nervy. Let's be honest, we've been given crappy decisions against us in the past, so I wouldn't have been surprised. But yeah, it was definitely not a penalty, not in a million years. He cleared the ball and then they clashed.
Yeah.
I don't know where he was expecting him to go if it wasn't where he ended up. He was flying through the air as a goalkeeper was doing his job properly should be doing.
Exactly right. What did you make of Austin's performance overall?
I thought he was pretty solid.
I thought he was pretty solid. I think he could have done mildly better for the goal. Like he kind of came and probably didn't.
Yeah, he did. I think as well, he ended up going underneath it a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, but he also made some really good saves as well.
He did, exactly. I mean, it could easily have been a very different scoreline, right? He had 2 or 3 really solid saves. So, I mean, that's something to talk about, isn't it? That despite us winning 3-2, the chances created by both teams, we created 8 chances, 5 of those on target, 3 goals, which is a pretty good rate of return, right?
Yeah.
They created 22 shots and 5 on target. So their shooting was poor, but actually we conceded far more chances to them than is healthy, right? That's not good. And this is a team with no confidence.
Yeah.
Who are equally like us, 15th in the league after 18 matches. Their goal difference is -12. They've only scored 23 goals all season. This is not a good team. This is a team low on confidence, with no, with nothing really in this competition. Even like Europa League, they've won 1 game, and that was against Dynamo Kiev. And
and
Kiev, they were at war, and they still managed. It's the only game they've won.
Yeah,
it's they are not a good team. They're really not a good team. But we gave them too many opportunities, and this is my worry. If you think about our weakened team, probably brought us down to their level. So if you think of this as 2 equally skilled teams playing each other, the way that we play allowed them way too many chances. So if we play a better team, say we play Bayern Munich and we've got all our players back, I expect a very similar outcome, apart from the fact that a team like Bayern will take, of those 22 chances, they'll probably score 7 of them.
Yeah.
And this is that's down to the way we play, not to the players. I still think that we are far too vulnerable when we play the way we do with Ange at the moment. I don't see it changing. That's my worry, I guess.
It's no different as to when we played Tamworth, right? You know,
Tamworth created double figures chances against us.
Yeah,
and the guy running down the wing going past Porro works in Zara. It's not. In fact, I saw someone on Thursday night. Someone messaged him and asked him. We've had so many injuries. Someone messaged him, asked him if he's got his boots if he wanted to come along and play.
We could do worse, right? We could do worse.
Oh, yeah. Well, he made Porro look like the very average that night, didn't he?
No, indeed. Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's going to be mildly interesting to see what plays out from here in terms of the broader vision of the club, because clearly I think, and as you know, I've kind of backed him. I think we're going well in the League Cup. I quite like the bloke. I think if he was going to be fired, do you think it would have happened by now? Like, do you think this is just it now? We've written off the league and then we're just going to go for the cups? Because I read an article on the BBC, which I'll flick across to you if you haven't read it. But basically it was coming from the angle of this could still be a really good season for Tottenham. Like when they get their players back, if that's what the main issue has been, and we're going well in the League Cup, we're a game from Wembley. Villa away in the FA Cup, that's kind of season defining because we can get into the fifth round. We've got Europa League, which we're now top 8 guaranteed, or we need a result again, Elford?
We still need a result, but it's probably the weakest team we'll play in the group stage.
Correct. So, do you think this is from a Tottenham hierarchy, from an Ange Postecoglou point of view? Do you think this is it for the season? Right, this is it, right? They're going all in now. We're going to get to May if we finish bloody 16th. And we win something, we get to a final. I don't see it changing.
I don't either. I don't think it will. I think, if their intent is to stick with him, then they should be bolstering the squad for him now.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
In fact, we're nearly 4 weeks now into the transfer window. No, we're just shy about 3.5 weeks in, and we've had a goalkeeper, which was a necessity because we just had so many injuries, but. We equally had long-term centre-back injuries. We definitely need a centre-back, probably a left-back. We could probably do with some more attacking width, a more natural winger that can go inside or outside the player, because we haven't really got that.
Well, we don't have that fit, but we've seen very little of him in terms of Odobert. and he could be that player, right?
He could. And then with Solanke out, do we need cover there as well? We've only got Richarlison and Lancashire. There's talk of Lancashire going out on loan. I can't see that because let's be honest, Richarlison, if he does 3 games in a row, then that's probably his best run of games for a while. My worry is that as soon as he comes off the pitch, we should just wrap him up in cotton wool and stick him in a box until the next game. He's just so vulnerable to injury. That's my worry. To be dependent on him would be really risky. Really risky.
Yeah, no, agreed. And that's actually a nice segue with players that are available and how we want to wrap Summers in Cornwall. Looking ahead to the Leicester game, which is, from my viewing experience, it will be 1 a.m. Monday morning, so we'll not be watching it live, but we'll watch it on a TV this time, I will add, not on an iPad. But I'll be watching it when I get up Monday morning. You are not going, correct? You're heading to Athens?
Yeah, I'm flying to Athens for work. Unfortunately, I will be in the air when the game's on again. Seems to be my common thing at the moment. I'm flying on BA, so given that they seem to be stuck very much in the 20th century, I don't suppose they'll have Wi-Fi on the plane. So I'll probably have to just find out what the score was after the match when I land. So
I thought the appointment by Leicester of Ruud van Nistelrooy was dumb. I don't want to disrespect the bloke. I mean, brilliant player, right? But when they appointed him off the back of it seemed to be just off the back of his interim at Man United, I said to a mate of mine, I said, well, that's relegation incoming, and that seems to be what's playing out. We've got to win that game, though. It's like, we no two ways about it. If we do not win that game, and thankfully, and this sounds mental to say it, but thankfully Ipswich took another beating today, because I'm like, why are we even talking about Ipswich and Tottenham in the same kind of category? But that's where we are, right? So
Everton are a point behind us.
I know. So we really need to win this. And if Leicester's lock up, I think, look, we'll get to predictions in a little bit, but I see I see a win. I do. I know I've pivoted from that. I said score draw, but I saw against Hoffenheim a win, and I thought we were going to lose. So I'm pivoting. I'm saying, look, I think we will get the win. I'll get into score predictions in a minute, but I've heard that Spence has a knock. So what? At number one, you're not going to see it, but how do you see it playing out? And number two, what team's he going to pick? Because obviously Kingsley in goal, but then if Spence isn't playing, then does that show Davis, the left back? I guess Gray, Dragusin, Porro has the rest of the back four.
I'm just looking at the injury list and the forecast return dates. Solanke, no. Vicario, no. Udogi, no. Probably nearly a month still till we see him. Brendan Johnson, no, definitely not. Vernon, no. Mickey van der Ven, no. Christian Romero, no. Probably next week, if at all. Not Matt Sarr, so we lost Sarr as well. Spence, unlikely to play this weekend based on and said, so he's out. Reguilon is back.
I always forget about him. Yeah, I always forget about him.
Reguilon could play left back. So we could play Reguilon, Ben Davis, Dragusin and Porro, for instance.
And then would he play Archie Gray in midfield with Bergvall a rest?
Or play that three. Play Bergvall, Gray and Bentancur.
And I think Bergvall and Gray in midfield with Bentancur alongside them.
Because we've got Bissouma's still out as well. He's not
correct. Which, to be honest, I mean he's won every 8 games. He'll show up. So I'm not overly. To be honest, I know it sounds harsh. I hope we sell him in the summer. I've not been impressed with him at all. In terms of what,
he's been unreliable, should we say?
Yes, yeah. And then no Solanke. So we've got obviously Richarlison. I actually like Richarlison on the left. I think when we won. And it seems like a long time ago. But when we went on that mad run in Ange's first season, Richarlison was actually really good on the left.
Yeah, but I think we need him as a focal point because whenever we play Son up front, we just lose a lot. And the Leicester centre backs are no mugs, right? They're not little guys who are going to get bullied. Son's not going to give them as much of a handful as I think that Richarlison would. So I think it's probably more sensible to have probably Kulusevski and Son either side of Richarlison.
He clearly won't do this, but the other thing is Lancashire. He's not small, Lancashire can put it about.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether he completely trusts him to start a game like that yet. And also, maybe he starts Maddison instead of one of those players that we've mentioned already.
Yeah,
although he has been leaving him out, and if he can't last the match, he's a bit of a luxury to have in the team as a 60-minute player, isn't he?
Yeah, 100% he is. Yeah,
well, if he can get 90 minutes out of Archie Gray and Bergvall, then you play them, right? And same with Bentancur, he played the whole match, didn't he? Did he not come off? I can't remember now.
I think he played the whole game. Yeah, who did all of it? Oliver C came on for Maddison, didn't he? So yes. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Son. It was for Son, wasn't it?
Sorry, for Son. Yeah. Come on, later. Moore came on for Maddison.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, we haven't talked about him. Maybe Mikey Moore features against Leicester.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Reason why not? It depends on how tired Son is, I guess.
Yeah, very true.
We'll see. I don't think at the moment it makes that much difference. Just looking at the squad and if Winks is likely to play. What's happened to Skip? Is he injured?
He came on. Well, I don't know the context of this because I didn't watch the whole game, but there was some footage going around on something, like someone either sent it to me or I saw it, where Ruud van Nistelrooy was being chanted in the King Power, you don't know what you're doing, and it involved bringing on Winks and Skip at the same time. I don't know what the context of that is or why they were so mad about it, but they were right on his back, like really yelling, you don't know what you're doing. So it does seem like quite a defensive-minded move, and I think they were losing at the time, so maybe that's something to do with it. So Skip has, but did we get like 20 million for him from Leicester?
Well, I mean, at least that, yeah.
I mean, so
have a look.
I mean, it was decent money for a player who, I don't know, I think he peaked a couple of years back and then just kind of hit a bit of a ceiling. But it's a game. Look, in the spirit of what we've just done against Hoffenheim,
23.5 million euros. So what's that, like 22 million pounds or something?
yeah, well, at least 20 million quid. Yeah, it's about 20 million quid. In the spirit of what we did against Hoffenheim in winning a game that you look on paper and you look on, we're Tottenham, we've got better players than Hoffenheim, we should be winning. In the spirit of that, I'm going to say that we will beat Leicester. I don't know about a score. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything, right? It could end up being like a 5-4 win, or we could just go and completely smash them, or there'd be a surprise thrown and maybe Romero plays. I don't know. I know you just said he's not, but then I've heard he's back in full training. So
yeah.
I mean, it's going to be also the other thing, and you're not going to get to see it. I'm really intrigued to see what the atmosphere is like. Like
it could get really toxic if we go down to them, for instance. And let's be honest, Jamie Vardy loves a goal against us, doesn't he?
And I was about to say that tell you who had some joy in behind, and he's not the quickest of players, was Calvert-Lewin against Everton. He got in behind a few times. Now, Jamie Vardy loves that. He loves playing on that last shoulder. So, yeah, bit of a worry. But I don't know, mate. As I said, I'm too scared to put a score prediction on it. But what do you reckon, mate? Are you? I'm going to say a 3-1 win. There you go. And I think we will go 1-0 down.
I think 3-1, and I think we'll also the same, that we'll go 1-0 down as well. I've got this feeling. Who do you think the two top goal scorers against Leicester are for Tottenham?
Over the whole Premier League, are we factoring in going way back?
Let's go for just Premier League.
For Tottenham, maybe Leicester were quite low for a while, so probably Harry Kane. He's got a few. Yeah. Did we go up there and smash them like sevens or something? Didn't we?
He's the one who scored the most goals against Leicester City. He scored 18 goals against Leicester in 16 games.
Yeah, well, because didn't he get 5 in one game though, or something? I remember
he's got at least 2 or 3 hat-tricks against them, I think.
Yeah. And I think Sonny's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, he's the second. Yeah. 9 in 15 Premier League matches.
Yeah.
So he loves a goal against him as well.
So I mean, we'll see. But we just need. What I want to see from Tottenham against Leicester is a consistent from minute 1 to minute 96 or whatever it is in performance, right? I want that performance to be good throughout the game. I don't want to see any drop-off. And I think sometimes the drop-off can be attributed to the same 11 being asked to do a job week in, week out. But, let's see, because you should have Bentancur in there now that may get some arrests.
And maybe we have a couple of players that we can bring on from the bench, just to freshen it up a bit. Like we've got Mikey Moore now who can come in. We could bring Lancashire on. We're back to kids again, really, aren't we?
Which, do you know what? Really. In the context of the philosophy of football where I come from, having kids in the squad is, in my mind, it's no bad thing, right? It becomes a bad thing when you're asking them to do a job of a seasoned pro, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be quite happy for them to come on and get fit. This is my ideal play out for this game is that we get ahead, we get a good 2 or 3 goal lead. And then we start to rotate players off in the second half to give the youngsters some game time to rest some of the first team players who are obviously being overplayed.
Yeah.
But whether that happens, whether it plays out that way or not, it's obviously not. It's not.
But I also
obvious.
I also don't trust this sometimes, this setup, this team, this 11, whatever you want to say. If we are 3-0 up and he chucks on a few youngsters, that we don't end up drawing the game 3-3. The way we play is just very cavalier, isn't it?
That's true. But I also think that to keep the same 11 on and try and hold on to 3-goal lead when you're getting tired in the second half, equally is an issue. And I think actually fresh legs might give you at least a bit more running and a bit more energy, which we'll probably need to see a game out.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll probably butcher the last name of the presenter, but Oloesi, who came on.
We did this before. I don't know, someone was telling me they listened to us butcher his name about 6 times in a row between the 3 of us. But I think it's Odyssey, I think it is.
Olasisi, yes, it was a bit of a cameo, but when he came on, I actually thought he looked quite useful, you know?
Yeah, he's a pretty solid lad, isn't he?
Yeah, solid. He looked comfortable on the ball, so maybe we'll see some more of him. But yeah, indeed. So unfortunately, you'll not get to watch it. I will be watching it on delay, and then there will be another episode we're going to plan on pre-Elfsborg.
Yeah.
I can't say that team now without thinking of the movie Elf, because I told my daughter who we're playing in the Europa League next, and she said, "Oh, what, like Will Ferrell?" And I'm like, "What? What are you on about?" She goes, "The movie Elf." So,
Yeah.
we'll be doing another recording ahead of that one.
We might have to sync on that because I might have to do that from Greece. So I will take my mic with me.
I see an opportunity for Athens Spurs. See if you can.
Well, it's funny you should say that, but I messaged the Hellenic Spurs Supporters Club to see if anyone will be available to do an interview with me while I was there. But I haven't had a response, unfortunately. Bit disappointed. Come on, if you're anyone out there, please reach out. It would be great to do a conversation while I was there.
If anyone's got any contacts with Hellenic Spurs, or you are a Spurs supporter in Athens, get in touch.
Yeah, and I will happily meet up with you and buy you a drink, and we can record just a little interview, something we can use for the next episode. Will be great.
Good stuff.
Failing that, I will just do a normal record, and I should be fine. I'm in a reasonable hotel. Should have reasonable good enough Wi-Fi to do a record anyway.
Indeed, we'll be right. As they say in Australia, we'll be right. But no, good stuff.
Well, I know there's one more. I got one. I just want to quickly talk about transfer though, because we've not really covered it in any detail. What worries me is, and I'm hoping, if we're going to do business, I'm hoping we haven't seen the names that we're seeing in the press are not the names that we're going for. I hope that Langer's being very guarded, and all the shit we're seeing in the press is just press talk. Because the people we've been linked with, I'm thinking I don't really want them. I don't think they add anything. Like Brian Brobby. Have you seen this one? The link to from Ajax. This has got like Janssen and Bergwijn written all over it, right? This is a guy who's got one goal for Ajax this season.
Yeah.
So I don't think we want him. I just don't. I know I said I wanted numbers, but like I don't see the value in that. So that feels like another one of those young, long-term prospects that we're going to try.
The one hope I have for the window and how we're operating is there was no rumours whatsoever about Kinski, and then it was just done. So I'm kind of hoping that what we need is bodies, you're right, but hopefully there is significant work that's been happening for the last 3 weeks, and then we're going to see bang, bang, 2 players in the door, and it's just done.
Yes, I hope so, but we've already played 5 games in January. Yeah, you could have really done with those players being available.
Yeah.
That's for me is like that's a lot, right? That's over 10% of the season's games that we've had insufficient players to put out a solid squad, solid team even.
Do you think Ange Postecoglou is being let down, or do you think Ange Postecoglou is part of the problem in terms of this recruitment, as it seems on his face issue in this window?
Well, he's clearly asking for help.
Yeah.
So he's saying in press conferences, we need some help. What I don't know is if he wasn't getting the help that he's asking for, how vocal he would be with it in public.
Yeah, maybe very good point. Yeah,
maybe he's just being sensible and not airing his dirty laundry in public, and that actually in the background he's having a slanging match with everyone because he's not getting the players in through the door. Or maybe he's part of the problem in terms of the selection of players. Maybe he said no to a lot of players. Maybe he's been offered players and he didn't want them. I don't know. My worry is that let's say there's been a few players like. And we get sort of linked in the press with them, and I think I'm not sure they're a good fit for the way we play, but it's an experienced player, and if we could get them on loan for 6 months, that might be half decent. And I don't know whether he's just like, no, don't want that. It's difficult to know, isn't it? This is the thing about the.
Everyone said
exactly. They say all the right things in public, but who knows what's going on behind closed doors?
You never really know. And here's another way of looking at it. Are we having conversation with players or looking at players and getting it somewhere down the road and they're saying, well, hang on about it, everyone's getting injured there.
Yeah, or maybe they're looking at us and thinking, no, I don't think that's going to be that's not a good move for my career at the moment.
Correct. Like, would you, if you're looking at it through a broad lens of you want career progression, you want to get minutes, you want to play in a side that's going to complement you as much as you'll complement them, I mean, it doesn't seem like a great place to come at the moment. So,
no, true.
I mean, maybe there's something to that.
But there's still other players that are out there fishing for
Oh, no doubt.
well, right?
No doubt. Yeah, that's me being a little facetious there with that. I do think that players would still want to come and sign for Tottenham Hotspur. It's just...
and the thing... that's one of the things about And as well. It's like he said it very, very much before, which is he doesn't want players to come to Tottenham who don't want to play for Tottenham.
Yeah,
they have to want to come here. We're not going to pay you to come. No, we're not going to pay you to overcome the fact that you don't want to come here.
You're correct.
You're going to you come here because you want to come here. Did you? The other thing, while we're talking about transfers, did you see the financial reporting that says that we are the lowest percentage of player salaries versus income of any team in the Premier League? In fact, we're like the lowest of all the top leagues.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's or second lowest out of all the top leagues in Europe. That's like, I'm number one, not surprised, because we've also just had a massive cull of experienced squad players who have been there a long time on high salaries, and we've obviously brought people in on lower salaries, but it just goes to show you the gap between teams on similar incomes as we are. Like we're 8th in Europe, so 8th in the world, basically, in terms of football clubs, in terms of revenue.
But I do think that's a relatively new. I think that stat gets banded about a lot, right? In terms of like Spurs being top, whatever revenue, very rich club. That's a relatively
new stadium, for sure.
Correct.
Stadium. Yes,
so that's a new phenomenon, right? And also, you can be. I think, and this is just me again stating facts, probably, but you can be as rich as you want if you still got the same stewards running the club. Is the business model going to change?
This is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the point of increasing our revenue by? I don't know what it's gone up by. Maybe it's doubled. Our turnover has probably more than doubled since the advent of the new stadium and all the other shit we're doing around it. But the percentage of that money being spent on players has probably stayed the same. Actually, the percentage has gone down, but the amount of money is probably similar to what we were paying before, not much more. But so we're not paying more money in line with our new income, if that makes sense.
Correct. I had it, and I liken it. It's a weird analogy. I could increase our grocery availability as far as funds by tenfold, right? If I wanted to, I could say we've got all this more money spent. Lindsay, my wife, will still say we're going to Aldi. Well, she's not going to change based on that we've got more of it. It's just gonna she wants a deal, right?
Yeah, and I think that's so basically you just said that Lindsay is Daniel Levy, right? Is that am I reading that right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. When you walk back to the tent, I wouldn't repeat that one.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that one to myself. Yeah,
I would, and hope that she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah, indeed. Her brother does. So good shout out to Ryan. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, right. Keep that one to yourself, Ryan.
Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, you're right. It's when you're as a fan, it's almost like you're pulling your hair out. You're hearing what we're hearing from Ange. We need bodies. We need players, and it's not really been forthcoming, has it, at all?
Well, we all know where the money's going, right? There's a fucking great big hotel being built at one end of the stadium.
Yeah,
and then I know I don't know you. I don't suppose you really know the area that well in recent times. I mean, it's changed so much since the new stadium was built, but lots of industrial park areas around the stadium, not the stadium grounds itself. So, like the hotel's been built on the land that is at one end of the stadium, so it's existing land that we've already got as part of the stadium complex. But the down White Hart Lane, there used to be an industrial park. As you went towards the station from the high street, on the right side, there used to be a big industrial park. And you used to be able to park in there. It was like 20.
Was that where was there a Sainsbury's there as well?
That was a bit further down. But it's like, so if you know where the bricklayers is and that row of shops along that, on the high street, behind that, there was this industrial park where people used to park. That's all been knocked down. That's all been regenerated. I'm assuming probably housing. That's all owned by the club as well. So there's when I say the club, I mean ENIC, real estate investment funds, but that's where all the money's going. It's going into building real estate assets for the owners to own and hold on to.
Well, and this is the thing, right? Love him or loathe him or sit in the middle on your view on him, from a Daniel Levy-ENIC point of view, the fans that are out there saying, we want Levy out, we want Levy out, it's like, well, he's not ready. Like, he's not ready to sell. ENIC are not ready to exit yet. And they're clearly building... Yeah.
He's not someone... I can tell you, he's not someone who's going to leave money on the table.
Correct.
Until he's strung every last pound out of... But the problem is it's not about the football. It is...
No, I agree.
Whatever he says, I'm a fan, it's bullshit. He's a businessman. If his priority is not the football, his priority is the business.
Absolutely.
And so it is whatever he says about being a supporter, that still comes second to him being a businessman and wanting to and being a massive capitalist who wants to squeeze every penny out of the assets he's got at our expense.
100%. And I sit, like I said, I have a middling view on him in that I would like him to go. I think he's probably outstayed his welcome in that for me, he's outstayed his welcome because we haven't been successful under his stewardship, right? Now, does that mean he hasn't done good things for this club? No, because I think he has. I think we're on a firm footing, right? We're on a very firm footing from where he arrived. Now, the irony is, I don't know if you read this stat, I think it's on The Athletic, there was an article. The irony is we're actually lower in the table to when ENIC came in. So read that with me before you will.
I think, let's be honest, right? ENIC got very, very lucky that they happened to be around when Harry Kane was around. Because he saved them over the period he was with us, probably generated a lot of revenue from the amount of competitions that we went a long way into, got into Europe, and also saved us spending a shit ton of money on players to play up front for us as well. So he just, and basically he papered over a lot of the cracks of the lack of investment, even from the period when Pochettino was here, right? All the way from then onwards. So if they got damn luck, and it was not any judgment that they made, was it, that Harry Kane...
No judgment there.
Harry Kane.
But you've just said it right. We're on a very firm footing because new investment will happen, right? I don't know when it's going to happen, but it just will. That's the cycle of business, right? It's no different to a PE flip at any kind of corporation. When they've got investment, they've got their return, they bugger off, and new investors come in. We're on a much better footing for that type of investment than we ever once were, right? So
I mean, but it'd be interesting. I know Joe Lewis isn't allegedly directly involved in the club anymore. It's his daughter that owns ENIC,
fortunately, because he's been banged up, wasn't he? He was done for.
Yeah. But then you know that he's sat in his cell, controlling everything anyway. But what I mean is that I don't know if she has any interest in football at all. Not that I think he had that much. But I think she'll have even less. So my worry is it's just another investment management portfolio for her. She'll have no interest in it, which means Levy continues to run everything. I don't see him taking a step back. He's not an old man, right? He's not. He could carry on doing what he's doing for 20 years. No problem at all. Would he want to do that? I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he's quite comfortable doing that. But
the other way
will be comfortable.
The other way of looking at it. You only have to look at two examples, one being closer than the other. So the first one is Chelsea, and they ended up with some pretty bad money going through that club. Now, yes, they've got Clear Lake in now, and there's a bit of a cycle going there, and they've got 1 million players, all the rest of it, and they're seemingly okay financially, but it went very wrong very quickly for them with Abramovich. And then the other one is Newcastle. Newcastle had this new investment come in a couple of years ago, being celebrated, and they still have had to be a bit careful, haven't they, on how they spend that money. It's not
because
like
they can't spend it because of
correct.
the income of the club doesn't allow them to.
Correct.
Whereas
So
we have the opposite problem.
well,
They've got money to spend, but they can't spend it. We've got money to spend, but we won't spend it.
that's my thing with it, right? Are we crying out for just a little bit more or different investment in the perspective of give up something in it to somebody else to buy in, and then just inject some into the team, just something, I don't know. It'll be
My worry is that people will invest because they see the real estate portfolio as a good investment, not
sure
because of I think the piece of green in the middle of the stadium is the least valuable asset that the owners have for them. But I don't think it.
Yeah.
I think players come and go. The team, as long as the team doesn't get relegated, there's enough money generated through Premier League, just being in the Premier League, that they'll be fairly comfortable. It wipes its own face, right? There's enough money floating around in football from TV rights that it's enough to generate operating income for the business. Everything else is where they're looking to make money. It's all of the off the field investments.
Yeah.
And that's, I just think you've got to, I don't like it at all. I think it's awful, but it is welcome to 21st century modern football.
Well, what doesn't happen very often is what's happened at United in Ineos, and he's pretty outspoken that he is a huge Man United fan and has been for years, and it remains to be seen if that's going to be an improvement for them.
He's not enamoring himself to the club, is he?
I tell you what, though, and this isn't a Man United podcast, but a lot of what is happening at that club needed to happen a long time ago. I mean, I think that club they've been living in 1999, like since 1999, right? Including,
that's probably a fair shout.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're just.
I'm not sure they were quite ready for the Band-Aid to be ripped off the way it has been, though.
No. I mean, I read something about. I think Ferguson was getting like several 100,000 a year per ambassador rider. So, well, yeah, from a business point of view, that makes no sense.
No.
Like, yeah, the bloke won you a treble, but move on, people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Giving that money to a new manager.
Correct. So I don't know whether or not we will ever be in that position of, God, if I had a few billion quid, as you, I'm sure I'd love to buy Spurs and then be a real fan and actually. But I don't know, it's difficult, right? It's difficult whoever comes in terms of the Newcastle example, the Chelsea example, it has to be right. And if there's anything that we are good at, it's being financially compliant and a very good business. Now, it doesn't result in trophies, sadly.
I think I read that we could spend 400 million on players.
Yeah.
And still be compliant under the rules in that current situation. So that shows you there's being cautious and careful, and then there's being Daniel Levy. I think that, and I don't think that Lefford doesn't change his spots, right? I don't think he's going to change. So I think this is it. This is what we can expect. We'll spend money, but it will be just enough money, not enough. Nothing
just enough.
So then, yeah, or just it's going to be with a lucky dip bag of players that we will take a chance on every season. We'll maybe buy 2 or 3 players that have the potential to be world beaters, and then maybe one every 2 or 3 years is a world beater, and we get lucky. We pull out a Heung-min Son or a Harry Kane or a It could happen. I mean, but it's going to be the issue with that is consistent teams win leagues.
Completely. But would it be a fair question to ask, if we win the League Cup, which we're a game away from the final, we just need to avoid defeat at Anfield? I know that's very easily said. But if we were to win the League Cup, can you see it being a platform with this manager, or can you see it being another one-day Ramos situation where then we just completely tailspin and then we go into the next season and there's 2.8 games?
Well, my worry is this has been a tough season for the players. Yeah, the club's not really done them any favours, has it? We've already heard rumours about Romero in the summer. will he be the only player looking to find another club?
Especially if we're not Europe.
So basically, even if we've got to a stage where we're like 80% complete on squad building, if we suddenly have to lose 2 or 3 players who probably would have been part of our future, but players that we would have wanted to keep for the longer term, then you're constantly playing catch up again, aren't you? Then you've got to go out and buy replacements that are as good, and we won't. We'll buy prospects that might be as good. Maybe 1 out of 3 of them will be, and then we're back to that whole cycle again, aren't we? But we can go all the way back to Christ. Everything since Martin Yole, basically. Like that, right? It may be that.
Yeah, when Carrick was gone,
When was the last time we bought a ready-made first-team player that you knew? I was thinking, is it going back to someone like Jermaine Defoe or Robbie Keane or so? When you bought a player where you absolutely knew you were buying quality at the top level,
and they come in and they make a difference immediately. I suppose, and we've managed to break him, but I suppose you could make the argument Solanke maybe. In terms of what we thought we were getting.
I mean, but we were buying a proven Premier League player that...
Yeah.
But aside from that, there's not a lot, is there? I'm trying to think of... There's players that we brought in that ended up being okay, but maybe weren't the finished article when we got them. Even like Vertonghen wasn't really, was it? He had some really poor seasons with it before he really came good.
Yeah.
Maybe Alderweireld. He's probably
Alderweireld.
He'd probably be one where I'd say.
And he was, of course, on loan at Southampton, right? And then we brought him in, somewhat ready-made. Yeah, that's probably a good chance. It's a fair question, right?
But then Walker was a young player we bought in from Sheffield United, right?
And then we loaned him to Villa.
Yeah, and Danny Rose was another one who was a young player we bought in.
Loaned him.
And he, again, didn't really come to the surface until much later.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few, isn't there? Like Aaron Lennon was another young one we brought in.
Yeah.
Crouch, when he came to us, we started off with us, didn't he, before he went out? But he wasn't like, he didn't come in as a world beater. The only time we bought we fit players you think that's good, they're really gonna would be like Ndombele. You think this is the missing link. This is the bit what we've been missing, and then they've been absolutely awful.
It just goes wrong. Yeah. No. It's when you go and drop all that money on somebody, and it's just not what you hoped you were going to get. But no, it's a fair question, mate.
There's some criminal scouting that's gone on in the last 20 years. That's for sure.
Well, it's not been great between the scouting, the improvement, money going into the team. It doesn't result in the worst possible outcome of us going down. I mean, I think we beat Leicester, and we don't. There's the breathing room, but it's not.
We need those 3 points. We need that, as you said, that breathing room. I think that absolutely is a must. So, I 100%. I don't really think much else to say. I mean, we've obviously went on longer than I expected to, but yeah.
All good. It's a tourist time at the moment, and it's seldom that we just talk about the football because the football hasn't been very good, and there's other things to discuss and other things to point out.
And I think the frustration around the lack of activity in the window does make you examine the overall running of the club in a bit more detail, doesn't it? Because it makes you think what the motivations of the board are and how honest they are with the public and with the supporters.
100%, and what it looks like on its face sometimes is an 11-year-old playing Football Manager, and they've just paused the game. You know, is that what's happened?
Yeah, the manager's gone on holiday for a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but no, it's not good. But onwards, won't be watching it live, but we'll be paying attention to the atmosphere. If we go behind the team he picks, so let's see how it plays out, but we will certainly be doing another one from, I assume, a slightly warmer Athens than where you are currently. I don't know what Athens' winter temperatures are like, but we'll be recording another one when you're down there.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, but it's not. I'm not going to be wearing short sleeves. I don't think it's not that warm.
So not like me currently. It's what time is it here? It's 10:11 a.m. and it's already up to about 29. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for rubbing it in.
A warm day ahead.
I just moved the dog. I just sit the dog out in the garden, and the whole lawn is frozen already. So
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, mate. Well, as always, let's get the win and come on, you Spurs.
Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close us out, come on, you Spurs. You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.